Okay, so let's talk about some tips and advice for the young techs and the aspiring technicians. And then I will also put this on the podcast either later today or tomorrow. So I see a lot of kids coming out of trade school and they don't know anything. I don't know what's going on with these schools, but they're giving you the very basics, and that's about enough to get you in trouble. So most of your learning is going to be on the job, and hopefully, there's that older tech that's been in for a while and is not only willing to give you advice, but give you good advice. Because you've got two types of older techs. You've got the ones who are just dead set in their ways, and whatever they say is right, and it probably was 15 years ago. Then you have the older techs that are a little more open-minded and able to keep up with things and keep learning. And that's going to be the biggest part of it, is to keep learning. Okay, so typically you're going to lean more toward install, or you're going to lean more toward service. I've done this a long time. I can do either one, and that's the best way to do it, is to learn both sides, because they do both interact with each other. And let's just be honest, there are some guys that are installing that are not installers. They can set a unit, they can hook it up, but that's about the end of their knowledge. And there's way more that goes into it than that, to do it right anyway. So obviously starting out, you're going to be pretty low on a totem pole, but it doesn't mean that you can't learn, that you can't figure things out. Because that's a big part about this job, is figuring it out. And again, things have changed, but the basics are still the same. The general operation of how the system works is all the same. You get into some of these units, and especially for service, the best advice I can give is don't overthink it, because you will drive yourself crazy. And I know when I first started, heat pumps drove me nuts. I'm just like, there's too many wires. Well, actually, there's not. It's just my brain was overthinking it, and it just messed me up. But once I calmed down and figured it out, then it's a piece of cake. And some of these units are way more complicated than what the basic heat pump was 30 years ago. The object is to complete the job, complete it correctly, as quickly as possible. But that doesn't mean to rush through it. Take your time, be thorough, but be quick about it. traffic's horrible again. So, what else we got? I had a whole bunch of stuff wrote down and I forgot it. We talked about the old people. Like I said, be careful with the old people, because some of them are just set in their ways, and what they tell you may not be accurate for today's unit. Definitely pay attention to the older guys that are, doing the work. You're on the job, and they probably got your gopher in or cleaning up or whatnot. And honestly, that's how I started. I'd go to work with my dad, and that's what I would do. I would go for it, clean up, and next thing I knew, I'm running service calls and putting units in. Do your research. There are a ton of apps, stuff I never had. It's, I would keep books in the truck. If I ran into something I didn't know, I had to run out to the truck and look it up in the book. Now you can just whip your phone out and be like, oh, there it is. Don't trust YouTube. For the love of God, don't trust YouTube. Unless it's a reputable site. HVAC School is one that I use quite a bit. I haven't done their YouTube. I've done their podcast and the Happy app. And I've learned a ton of stuff off of that. Your temperature pressure charts, but find a good one that's easy to use. The easier it is to use, the quicker you can look it up, and the quicker you can get on with completing your job or even getting home for the day, because we tend to work late nights sometimes. If you're looking for a job with set hours, this probably isn't going to be the one. The idea of that's not my job doesn't really apply. And the people with that mindset don't usually succeed. Sadly. And I've seen some really talented, hardworking people that they just have that mentality and it doesn't work out for them. It's sad, really. Stay open-minded. Always be willing to learn. Trust your gut. That's huge. That's, I don't know how many times I've walked in this situation and my brain and my gut are, they're not really communicating well. And I usually lean toward the brain and I'm wrong. And I'm like, alright, gut, you're right again. It happens. Let's see, comfortable shoes, that's a must. Look professional. If customers prefer that. I do a lot. Sorry about that, but it happens. Apparently my dad did it too. I don't know. Oh, dadgummit. Let's see, what else? condenser coils. They need to be cleaned. Most newer ones literally will have a label that say water only. And when you go to clean, you have to know your coil, because they've got some coils that are literally about a half-inch thick, and you can blow water through them from either side. So, you know, when I was coming up, you wash the coils the outside in, and that was it. Or, sorry. You wash coils from the inside out. Inside out. And that was the only way you did it. Now, the coils aren't as thick as they used to be, and you can blow water right through them. So either way, wash the dirt off of the coil. Just spray it down to the bottom, get it off the coil. And then if it's a thin coil, spray the water right through it. If it's a thicker coil, go ahead and pop that fan out, spray it from the inside out. And if it's a double coil and it can be separated, then separate it. I had one this morning. It was a double coil, but it was 2 half-inch, probably not even half-inch, probably 5/8 thick coil. There was 2 of them, but it was not able to be separated. So, still, you know, pop the fan off, water blows to it pretty easily. But on those, if you go from the outside in, then you may get the dirt caught in between them. And then you're screwed. Let's see, low voltage wiring. And you got your basic 5, your red, white, green, yellow, and blue. And while most everything is color coordinated, you need to understand the fundamentals and what each wire actually represents. You know, red power, white heat, yellow contactor, green fan, blue common. Throw in a heat pump, and you've got your 6th wire, which is going to be your reversing valve. And most that's fun. So most heat pumps, they reverse in cooling mode, which is your orange wire. But there are 2 off the top of my head that reverse in cooling, and that would be the Rheem and the Bosch. And there may be another one. But those are the 2 that I'm most familiar with that I can think of off the top of my head. So just make sure you understand the unit you're working on and how it reverses. Let's see. You may start out doing maintenance calls, and I probably do more than I should, but maybe not. Actually, I probably do what should be done, even though a lot of people don't. make sure you're checking your gas pressure and your heat rise. Air filters, extremely important. Filters need to be sized properly. Need to be installed properly so that very little to no dirt can get around them, because once the dirt gets past that coil, you're either clogging up your evaporator coil or you're clogging up your secondary heat exchanger. At this point, let me start driving around, which is a lot of what we do. Let's see. Well, I think we're probably going to wrap it up for now. But if you have any questions, feel free to just to comment, let me know. I'll answer them the best I can. Alright. And, you know, some of this applies to all trades, not just HVAC. HVAC! Alright, guys. We'll see you later.